Transition for editing, Paul. This should be pretty easy to find. Cool. Welcome to the September 2024. I had to look at the slides. I forgot what month it was. Welcome to the September 2024 edition of the Tough Arena State of the Game stream. I am your host, M. Paul Weeks, one of the developers of Tough Arena, and I will spend the next some amount of time, depending on Q&A, telling you all about the state of the game. What have we done recently? What do we feel about the current state of the game? It's right there. And what do you, as a player and a fan, have to look forward to in the short-term future? I will state explicitly at the outset, hello if we have any Scramble Heart City fans stopping by. I now am the developer of 2 fighting games, and Tough Love is in a sort of winding down state. Scramble Heart is in a winding up state. I still want this channel and these videos to be primarily about Tough Love Arena. So I have moved. I do want to talk a little bit about Scramble Heart and some exciting news though. So I have moved that to the end of the slides, and it'll all get mixed up in the Q&A. That's totally fine. In the next couple of months, I'll have a more sustainable solution going forward. I'm not sure if we're going to make a second channel. I can talk about that later. But just a heads up, it's going to be mostly TLA, a little bit of Scramble. Thank you for coming. And every transition, I take a sip. So, the past. Oh, in chat, please, of course, start yelling if there's audio issues. It's just my mic now. We're skipping out on the weird buzzing issues we've had of audio in the past. In fact, I'm actually just going to straight up mute the audio capture to make sure no weirdness. But start hollering if the mic gets weird. So, all that said, nice. I'm sure that's very entertaining for the YouTube audience. Past. What have we done for TLA since the last state of the game in early August? So some recent dev work. I started the long and much more involved planned, but I started working on the AI. Again, the CPU patterns that exist right now were written in a hurry 3 years ago, not super thought out. I'm proud of like some of the ideas I had, but they had gaps. One of which was that they would think of parries, specifically beef and onion, as a one-frame attack. So they would just do it like all the time. So already I've removed that, or I should say I've added a special case of like, don't do parries randomly in neutral. You can still do them if you're reacting to something. But it's the first of many changes that I'm excited to make to just make playing against the CPU a more pleasurable experience. And I've also been throwing some bones to the modding community, fixing some bugs, and adding some support as requested. That's about it. I will admit it was a pretty short TLA month because the month before was just so insane with the garlic skins and the summer tournament and all the cabinet stuff. And so me and Amy both took a big break from that. I had to deal with Anime NYC. It was this whole thing. And but I'm glad we got a little bit of development work in. Again, we'll talk about the future in a moment. But first, the present. How do I feel about the current state of the game? I feel good about it. I like it. I think we've had a stable meta for a long time. Clearly, there are people believe there are stronger characters and weaker characters, but I like generally where they sit. I'm sure we'll get to this more when we're in the feedback form. As I've stated a few times during Q&As and during a survey review, like I am open to making some small tweaks, but nothing big, nothing I feel like I need to announce, like to prepare people or warn people if I'm gonna totally nerf this tool or totally change this character's game plan. I think things are in a good place. And sip. Future. What do you have to look forward to? Thank you for the compliment, John Impact. So, East Coast Throwdown. Last big event of the year. And excitingly, because it's a fighting game tournament event, we're going to have booths and tournaments for both games. We're confirmed tournament on Tough Love Arena. You can sign up for it right now. If you go to the East Coast Throwdown website, go to Smash GG. At the bottom, there's a link to the community tournaments, and the TLA bracket is already up. I'm still working with them. I've been told we are likely to get a bracket for the new game as well, Scramble Heart City. But we'll definitely have booths for each side by side, where we'll have 2 setups for each game, 4 setups total. We'll be selling some merch for TLA. We might have some merch in time for the new game. I might just be giving some stickers away. I'm not sure. Depends on just how certain things line up and how shipping schedules map out in the next month. But super excited for this. I haven't shown TLA at a convention since Combo Breaker, just because EVO was so weird. Check the old state of the game for that. And it'll be great. I'm also really excited for people to see the new game and the state it's in now. And the Halloween tournament is coming up. We have officially picked a date. It's going to be Friday, October 18th, a little past halfway in the month. We'll do the usual thing of turning on the skins for everyone earlier in the month. It'll go until October 31st. If you participate in the tournament, you'll get to keep one of those skins year-round. If you get top 8, you get to keep all the skins year-round. The bracket is up. I'll post it in all of our socials after the stream. And we are going to have a Matcherino again, of which I've already seeded $100 into the pot. So please sign up for that if you want to play in the tournament, get some free skins, maybe win some money. We do these basically 4 times a year, quarterly, every 3 months. And the summer tournament was super cool. It was super fun. I mean, it also had, the super cool, fun, exciting, beautiful new skins. But the top 8 was also like pretty sick. So I'm very optimistic about. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the competition come October. And just recapping what's the upcoming dev work for TLA, it is continuing to work on the AI, which I view as a blocker to releasing the story mode. If I'm going to be pushing this CPU content, the CPU should be more enjoyable to play against. So those are kind of wrapped up in each other, but that is my focus right now, single player content. And now we will switch gears very briefly for a Scramble Heart City update. So for those of you who don't know, Scramble Heart City is the new fighting game I'm working on with a different team. It is still a browser-based fighting game, but now it is a 3v3 tag fighter with a bunch of more movement options and different artists and everything. You can see the characters have faces this time. And in the last month, we picked our name, announced it, Scramble Heart City, and we had a wonderful showing at Enemy NYC. Nenvis and chat volunteering that they were there. It was a ton of fun. So at that event, we only had 2 playable characters. At ECT, we're going to have 3 playable characters. It's going to be great. There'll be some rough, but it will be... I'm super excited. The 3rd character is looking great so far. And I will be doing dev streams throughout the weeks leading up to it, showing some of the stuff off. So, yeah, super excited for the game. We also launched a dedicated Discord server for it, and I shut down the old TLA channel that used to discuss it. So if you want to find this, just go into the Tough Love Arena Discord or socials. I linked it very recently in the announcements or on the Twitter. You can find it very easily. I'm not hiding it at all. And if you want to talk about the new game, if you want to get in the closed alpha, which will be running after ECT, just join the Discord and set up notifications. Or thank you, Meep, dropping the link in chat. And I guess for YouTube watchers, I'll link it in the description. So it's super exciting seeing the server fill up already with people excited about a game that they can't even play. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. Now let's move on to the monthly survey. Wrong monitor. Okay. Where is it? There we go. So, 12 responses this time. Thank you for everyone who filled it out. Granted, I did a terrible job of advertising it this time. I forgot to put it in the news sticker and post it in a bunch of places. But thank you for the 12 people who did manage to find it and fill it out last minute. Let's see what they had to say. So, TLA still looks fun to play. Let me increase the screen a little bit. TLA is still easy to learn the basics. TLA still has above average depth at high level. Very likely to play again. Very likely to recommend to both beginner and experienced. Noodle is above average strong, above average fun. Jump cancel needs a buff. Yes, we talked about this a little bit last time in terms of the fact that the jump cancel, aka what the community calls buzzsaw, maybe I call it that too, I forget. I can't remember some of the names I put in the frame data menu. but that one of Noodle's unique weaknesses is susceptibility to parries. Almost every other character's jump cancel beats parries. Like, you can't do the same parry timing for their normal jump and for their jump cancel, either because it's an empty jump or it avoids or there's a delay. But Buzzsaw has the same startup as the normal jump in. It's kind of strictly worse on hit. It's meant to be like a chip setup, and I know there are dedicated fans of it, but I am open to adjusting the timing. Or if I make the actual jump cancel change I want to make, where the timing can be dynamic, then that will sort of fix it as well. You'll have the option to mix up the timing. And yeah, sure enough, I didn't read it. I didn't read this before. I didn't read ahead. Having jump cancels work first parry seems like an essential buff. Noodle setups and multiplayer hype. That is true. We still I don't want to break the setups. The setups are very funny. Maybe it's Noodle's fated duty to be the gateway for third jump. Well, no. Noodle has been the most changed character from launch, 100%. But I don't think we have to go that far yet. Rice is above average strong, above average. These are two surprising graphs to see for Rice. I feel like Rice has been the number one downplayed character for the last 6 months since they got their most recent nerf. And I think it's very rare to see Rice listed as fun to play. So that's good news. Character is fine. No. And I just find it frustrating how bad of an option trying to whiff, punish, whip as meats spices is. Impossible on reaction, making it a true gamble on par with jumping, while simultaneously having more risk and worse reward than a jump in. That's an interesting way of framing it. However, I concede that whips' current properties in large part define the core carb game plan and shouldn't really be tinkered with. Yeah, they've been around for so long and it's so stable. I'm nervous about changing it. But it could be a small change to just make during the animation, having the same amount of recovery, but maybe the extended hurt boxes linger a little longer, that kind of thing. Interesting. Beef is above average strong. Beef is fun. If you could add, remove, buff, nerf one thing. No, Numbus. So this is a just monthly survey we do for Tough Love Arena, the first fighting game that I made. We share it on the Tough Love Arena socials. It goes out a week before I do this stream, which is once a month. So just keep your eyes on the Discord and Twitter. The next survey will go out in about 3 weeks. Maybe Air Lemon should be less committal. I buffed the hit detection on the counter since it doesn't seem to be consistent. Interesting. I wonder if they mean, when you say hit detection, I assume that's like a box, not like a timing. That's surprising to me. I can take a second look at that. Make it so you can adjust the speed of the lemons. No, this is dangerous. I think we did this in an April Fool's experiment. The first couple of years, every April Fool's, we would release a balance patch that would really change the characters, and I used it as like a testing ground for some experimental changes. And I think we had one where Beef could do fast lemon and slow lemon. And if the lemon is slow and he can walk behind it, it's just like too strong. So, unfortunately not. In a game with very limited options for even dealing with projectiles to begin with, I think it's important that lemons have a consistent speed. You may not like it, but Beef is what peak performance looks like. This generalist but absolutely himbo food person is the dictionary definition of perfect, and my only request is that Scramble Heart City features a cast gold 2-to-1 skill statue of Beef in one of its stage backgrounds. A very reasonable request. I'm going to screenshot this for later. Send it to my art team. I would make it so that the punch that comes after his parry activates even if he is not hit if the player presses the special button a second time. Interesting. So this is what people, again, ancient history. One of the April Fool's changes a different year for Beef was trying to replace his parry with something more proactive. And I had it where the punch came out very slowly. He was like armored before it. So it kind of functioned like a parry, kind of like a slow DP, I guess. And we called it Grill Time. Grill Time was very unpopular with the players. I loved it. I still am open to ways of making the parries for Beef and Onion more proactive. I'm still open to doing that. But it's at a point in production where like we really don't have access to new art. It's just not an option. So I have to kind of stitch something together what we have. Something like this could theoretically work, right? But we'd have to make sure. Long story short, I agree with you. And I'd say the parries are like the one area that I'm still kind of unsatisfied. Jump cancels, I know what I need to do. I just need to get around to it. I've had something in mind for like a year. It's just always been like the lowest priority thing. But parries are one thing that I'm still willing to potentially revisit in a way that could really change gameplay. Otherwise, like I'm very happy with where the game is at. I'm very happy with most characters' kits. Not changing Soup. I'm not changing Rice's game plan. I'm not changing Garlic. I don't want to change what makes those characters them. And maybe Onion could have a dedicated parry, and it's just a parry because Onion, is good and weird, and the multi-parry hype and all that stuff. Maybe Beef could have a girl time. I don't know, but we'll see. We're gonna focus on single-player content first, at least that's for sure. But I hear you. I think the heavy punch is so hard to punish, especially with the palm cancel. Not necessarily a bad thing, but not exactly fun to fight. I'd make it have an extra frame or two of lag on block to be more punishable. toughlovearena.com/go-to-frame. Right now, heavy punch is -5 on block. If we make it even one frame worse, then you can punish it with a light attack or a throw. And I want beginning players to be able to just dial in LH at close range and not worry about eating a massive punish. Palm is even less safe. So if they commit to Palm, at certain ranges you can punish with sweep. And if not, like you get to walk up. If not, do your own button uncontested. So I hear what you're saying. Heavy punch is strong. It is the meat's most centralizing, most powerful tool. But it is in a very specific place because it is any further, and I think it becomes too bad. It's like this tipping point. Kevin points out in chat, palm on block is less safe than chop on block. Yeah, but chop moves you in. I'm okay with that. Palm, because it has a lot of pushback, I'm okay having it be minus. So it is safer because the things that can functionally punish it are less. Moving on. Pork is just barely above average strong, but very fun. If you could add buff and remove for one thing, add good nature. User did not specify if this would be a buff or a nerf, so unclear. If I could give Pork a pile driver, I would. Character's fine as it is. Oh my god. We're going to circle back to that one. When all characters inevitably get an empty jump, I think Pork should get an air throw. That is interesting, except air throws don't really have meaning when you can't block in the air. I mean, you could have like an air-to-air attack. Maybe. Light into forward special does caber toss. It'd be nice if you could cancel light into jump attack. Unfortunately, I think if you did that, right, light attack does 21 frames of block stun. If you cancel it into jump, which has startup's a little weird to read on these guys because it has the knee attack, but I know meat's a little bit slower than like Spice jump is 32 frames startup. That would give them like somewhere between 11 and 20 frames to anti-air. That could be hard for certain characters to anti-air, I think. Especially, like, it's an interesting idea. And it could be cool for certain, like, combo finishes. You're juggling them really close to the ground. You just go like light bam. But I try not to do too many cancels that like only work on hit or block, because it leads to OSs, and I think it's just dangerous. I think it could just lead to like very brain dead pressure, That'd be kind of like a noob killer, but then not very good at high level. So it's an interesting idea, but probably won't do. I think the heavy punch is hard to punish. So same thing I said for beef. Okay, let's... Oh boy. All right. As of current, let's lean back a little bit. As of current, it's possible to reversal through the palm chop frame trap. So they're talking about Pork can do punch, palm, chop, and do it as a frame trap. It is possible to reversal through the palm chop frame trap on reaction to chop, entirely negating it with no truly effective counterplay available. To that extent, I'd like to propose an alternate, heavy version of chop as an additional cancel off palm, giving it a longer startup and a longer slide distance. The longer startup would allow it to function similar to jump cancels against parry's backflip, baiting out the reversal with a startup and then forcing a whiff into punish thanks to the delay. Frenzy and chop still beat, and teleport avoids this style interactive delay type mix-ups, but I see this as a potential positive. Spice matchup is the one where chop's identity crisis is at its strongest, while card matchups are where chop already has its strongest use cases. Meanwhile, the extra slide distance seems like a fair addition of utility, counterbalanced by the longer startup, exposing him to reversal jumps after palm, and allowing for more use cases outside of countering reversals in 3-6 matchups. 3 out of 6 matchups. Pork gets a way to convert mirrorless guaranteed from any range, and cheeky option to chase down opponents trying to walk with punish regular chop. At the same time, longer slide distance also removes the safe spacing for heavy chop entirely, making it aptly committal even if the opponent doesn't want to risk a reversal jump. I think that'd be a nice sprinkling of sauce, in addition to alleviating a crippling flaw of current palm chop. This is very interesting. I appreciate your suggestion. It's a big change, so I'd have to think more about the implications. I don't love this part. Where is it? I kind of like having reliable whiff punish distances, and he already has the running caber toss as sort of the very long range kind of catch them in paralysis moment. So I'm not a huge fan of hold moves because I think there is a loss in precision. People can, and this isn't a huge thing. There's some personal bias poking through, but you can accidentally hold it, and then something that would normally true combo now doesn't because you didn't realize that you didn't let go of the button. Thanks, Spork. I will take that question during the Q&A, which is coming up very shortly. Just remind me to circle back to that because there's a long answer to that. I want to finish this. So the fun, I appreciate this. I think it's interesting, and I will think about it. But I think the funniest thing here is the palm chop frame trap. This is the whole premise of this as trying to fix palm chop frame trap. I never planned for palm chop to be a frame trap. I planned on palm chop being a way that you can get a knockdown on hit. You can combo into a close knockdown to go for caber mix, and you need to confirm it because if they block chop, you die. I never intended it to be a frame trap. So framing this as a fix to something that I already wasn't, explicitly planning on supporting, it makes it less compelling. As a standalone idea, I think it is interesting. But if I did it, I would do it as a way to just give Pork another interesting tool, not for this specific situation. Kevin just says you should get rid of palm chop as a cancel. We can circle back to that later, Kevin. I want to keep going through here. These surveys get me so caught up, but I appreciate the long and very thoughtful suggestion. It's given me some things to think about. Thank you, writer. Onion is strong except for one hater, and Onion is fun. I'd buff the counter move. It doesn't always seem to be consistent. That is an intentional trade-off. As we call it, it has a lower floor, higher ceiling. You can get more off of it than Beef's counter, but you have to sort of earn it. And it does have some worse situations. Make his frame data 1 frame slower. The frames are very specifically curated on this game, so I'm afraid that's not an option. Neither a criminal offender nor a shining icon of balance. He's quite overtuned, but so far tolerably slow. That is how I feel about him. That is a good way of putting it. And Garlic is above average strong and very fun. If you can add a buff, remove one thing. Air dash, jump, cancel. The hitboxes behind you still only hits. What the fuck? We should hit Garlic with hammers. Jeez. And I think that sweep should be 1 frame faster to punish beef and pork harder, please. Smiley face. It is only 2 frames slower than light attack and like double the range. If it was only 1 frame slower than light attack, I think that would be too good. So unfortunately, I will not be doing that. But I will think about cutting off his legs. What about TLA originally appealed to you? Accessibility, easy to learn, web browser, simplicity, easy learning. Cool, all good, all glad, all very intentional things. Thank you. What keeps you playing TLA? Depth and crap. Consistent updates. If one is born as a pork main, at least once in life, he'll dream. Okay. Thank you for the content. Learning combos, trying to play styles, modding system. It's fun, tricky, and accessible. The systems reward improving in a very fun and noticeable way. It's very easy to implement ideas, and improving your fundamentals was very fun to do. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really put a lot of effort in trying to have a system that like opened up to you as you got better. So that is like I appreciate the other compliments as well, but that one hits me close. So thank you. What upcoming events are you most looking forward to? Halloween bracket, October 18th. Challenge link going out once the stream is done. Just keep an eye on our Twitter and Discord. Yes, that is coming. I don't know what this is. Unsure since I'm aware of them. Fingers crossed that full release is going to have some hype. Yes. I spoke with Amy about this just a few days ago to confirm. I can't promise anything. Planning is so hard. So much stuff happens. Life happens. But like, I have every intention of getting Tough Love Arena out of beta before the end of the year. I'm heads down on the new game while we prep for ECT. But after that event and after we get through the alpha test, I am going to seriously devote some time to Tough Love. And Tough Love Gauntlets, hell yeah. Shout out Shiggy Beats. Have you shared TLA with your friends? Yes. He really loves pork. Nice. Got people into fighting games. That's awesome. And any other thoughts? Please don't give up on this game. It's so cool. Absolutely not giving up. I think we're close to done with what we wanted to say with it, but not giving up, and we'll always support it with community events and all that kind of stuff. I hope the continued development of TLA isn't too much of a strain in tow with Scramble Heart City development. Best of wishes. Thank you. It has been a struggle to juggle, and TLA has mostly been the one that suffered on that balance, hence why I am going to dedicate some time to it later this year. I love the designs. I think the game is super well designed and pretty balanced. Something I would find really cool is every character is given a downward special. Interesting. But that's just a silly suggestion I like, and the game's perfectly fine without it. Also, lore would be really cool, but I'm saying it because I like lore. And the game is super good. Thank you very much. The rollback is a little iffy sometimes. I don't know for sure, but to me it looks like one-sided rollback caused by one game getting a couple of frames ahead of the other. Yes, we have our clock syncing is very interesting for Tough Love. It is theoretically consistent, but it doesn't work the way that a lot of other clock systems work. And it is like any rollback situation susceptible to one-sided rollback if someone starts falling behind. So Strive, really good rollback, really good netcode. Everyone agrees. If you're playing against someone, maybe on like PC or something, and they're struggling to run the game at 60 FPS, you will experience slowdown, right? The whole point of rollback compared to delay-based is that you should have a consistent amount of local delay. But in Strive, when the opponent is just too far behind you, they will slow you down to try and get the two clients in sync. You may notice that never happens in Tough Love. Tough Love just friggin' trusts that the opponent will get there. And if they can't, it gets real bad. I don't know this was a trade-off. This was a trade-off that I made. Because the problem with slowing down is that it can lead to just like muddy feeling matches, and it can lead to something called the death spiral, where you both keep slowing down for each other. And so I think that probably, there's a reason that that's the standard in most games, and I'll be doing something similar for the new game, not the TLA way. But I also, it's not something like I'm eager to go back and try and rewrite, because I don't know how many systems are baked in and assuming this like very consistent frame rate and could potentially be adversely affected by it. In general, the netcode also will suffer compared to something like Strive, because you're playing against a lot of people on Wi-Fi, more so than other games, because they're playing on, Chromebooks, and God forbid their phone playing on like 4G or something. So that is just, part of the kit and caboodle of a browser fighting game, I suppose. But I appreciate you raising it. I'm aware of it. It's not high priority for me to go back and rewrite. But if it continues to be a problem, if a lot of people have more problems with it, I'm open to revisiting. And thank you for creating a super fun game with so much charm that helps me get through school. Please pay attention to school. I worry sometimes about the impact I'm having on the children, on our future. But I also was a kid in school who didn't pay attention to class and played a bunch of emulator games and web games. And so, like, if I'm just your version of Aqua Energizer or whatever, why not me? So I definitely take pride in that. We will now be switching over to the Q&A. Where is the switch button? Here it is. So, if you asked a question, I believe something, for example, asked about modding, I forget exactly what it was. If you want to ask that question again, please put it in chat now. I will not be scrolling back up. And I will go through questions until we run out, or until my voice runs out. Because it's still pretty raspy from Anime NYC, honestly. That event, really killed my voice. So Kevin and Thick, they clarify custom sprite sheets. So, context for viewers. Temple of Arena currently supports user-made mods through an in-game menu where you get something that is somewhat like a code file for each character, and you can modify that code file. You can just change some numbers on startup and damage and hitbox size, or you can design your own moves. Unfortunately, you are limited by being able to load sprites, and you're kind of limited to the sprites that already exist in the game. Now, something I always hoped to support, because we added modding support. I don't have to guess, let me just check. Modding was added 7 months into the beta after I worked on it for 1 week. This was July 2021, 3 years ago. A little over 3 years ago. And it's had incremental improvements, quality of life features, that kind of stuff since then. And at the time, I knew that the sprites were going to be an issue, but I had this pie-in-the-sky vision of how I was going to solve it. But a lot of the work I was doing back then was just hopping between different things because the game was missing so much, and I was building out ranked mode real quick and it sucked, and building out server spectating real quick and it sucked, and doing a lot of stuff, and then circling back. We didn't have Steam yet. Those were early days. The problem with modding is that most people are playing the game. We have a couple problems with custom sprite sheets. So you're either playing the game offline on Steam or with the free download at download.templeofarena.com, or you are playing the browser version, the main version that most people are on. And when you're playing the browser version and the game says, okay, load the sprites for this character, it goes and it gets them from a special cloud service that I have behind a cache called Cloudflare to help reduce costs, because people are downloading a lot of bandwidth of PNGs every day to play the game. If you want to put your own sprites into the game and you want to upload your mod into a private match, and Thick Spork wants to play against Kerbokek, then Thick Spork needs to host the images on a URL with the specific headers such that JavaScript is allowed to then load those images into its virtual canvas, modify them, reverse them, scale them, and then draw them in game. Theoretically, if you can do that, then you could just write like full URLs into the sprites, I'm pretty sure, and try to do it that way. The problem is, like, who's going to figure that out? Who is going to host all their own sprites for their characters? I had an idea of how I was going to do that, how I was going to provide like a centralized service that you could submit sprites to for hosting. But at this point, I've largely given up on it. Like, just to be honestly realistic, if this new game hadn't come along, which, again, it was never my intention to try and work on 2 games at once. The plan was to finish TLA completely and then start this new game, but I got a rare opportunity to start working on the new game with some financial support, and I couldn't just say, come back in a year, I'm not ready. If TLA was the only game I was making, it was post-release, it was post everything else, it was after arcade mode and everything, but it was still something I wanted to do. But at this point, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, Cloth Till says, so could the sprite sheets be bundled into the mod.zip? Theoretically, I mean, like, it would require code support. I would need to look through the mod file, or look through the zip file, and like look for images and store them in memory. But that means you're like passing around zip files that are probably like 50 megabytes, if compressed. Like, if you're putting up like smaller versions of files. The whole sprite system is currently very opinionated about resolutions. That's another issue. It doesn't load like a super high res image and then downscale it. I have prefabricated versions of the characters at different resolutions so that if you're playing on mobile, it uses up way less bandwidth than if you're playing on desktop, because you just don't need higher res. And that's like totally untenable for, like, say, server lobbies where you're uploading the mod onto the server so it can distribute to the other players. Now suddenly my servers are going to run out of memory because people are dumping all these mod files into them. There are ways that it could work, but it's unfortunately not a silver bullet. It's an interesting idea. I appreciate the suggestion, but as I'm thinking it through, it has issues. Now, some people are mentioning in chat something like Waddle Pack. I think there are solutions for when you have everything locally and you're just playing offline. Then yeah, you can just put. The way TLA works is it's just a bunch of static files and it runs a local server. So if you just put files into folders, then TLA can see them as long as they're put in the right folders. But being able to play that online, being able to play that as like a quick, just go to this URL and click my thing and download the mod, as I'd originally envisioned it 3 years ago, is just not going to happen. It just has too much issues because I'm not using something like, say, Steam Workshop, where Steam is handling the submission and the hosting and the searching and the vetting and any other tools for managing that stuff. I have to build all myself because we're working on browser, and it's so it's not going to happen. That's why it's not going to happen. I fully support any workarounds that people can find or do, like the Waddle Pack. You have my blessing. And maybe someday if I open source this thing, someone else can solve this issue. And I would, again, give them my blessing. But knowing my priorities and the time I have, don't plan on it. I have to scroll back up a bit to see what I missed. Kerbo asked a shitpost question that I won't acknowledge. Kevin says, Paul, whip hits lemon throw in recovery and trades. Why? I assume you just mean like if you whip Beef as he throws a lemon, then you trade because you hit him, but then the lemon hits you. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. Yeet Deck says, I think you can host those with Discord attachments and pasting the URL doesn't work. I'm not sure if that's an issue with... And so this is where we get into like the headers. Like images have to be hosted by a server that will serve them with certain headers in order for the browser to let you edit them. Because the browser is trying to be very friendly and have certain precautions. And if the images aren't loaded the right way, then it will be like, oh, you don't have permission to edit that image. No can do. That'd be my guess. But there could also be, maybe there's restrictions in how my mod setup is set up, and maybe you put in full URLs and I just like purge them. I don't know. That's definitely something I'd be happy to like spin up. And would be very easy. It's just like adding full URL support. If that's a blocker for people, let me know. We can do that in a dev stream in 5 minutes. But there might be issues beyond that if you're just trying to like route it out of Discord. I know, I never even tried. Kevin says, so are we going to get rid of Palm Shop or what? Why get rid of Palm Shop? So are you saying I should get rid of it because it has this RPS, this as everyone likes to call it in this community, what's the delay cancel? The DAC? The DACL or something? Because it has like this DAC RPS that I wasn't originally planning around. Is it like a really annoying situation to deal with? I wasn't familiar with this. Tell me why you want it to die, Kevin. Please elaborate. DAC, delayed attack cancel. Yes, that's it. Oh, the issue is that people can react to the chop. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Again, to me, it's supposed to be confirmed. It's just an alternate confirm to doing uppercut. It's supposed to be super unsafe. It's supposed to not be like a good option on block. It's just if you're a pork that wants to get a knockdown instead of going into uppercut, then I want to give you a route to do that. Cool. Any other questions? If you want hard knockdown, do you not just uppercut? But mid-screen you need to spend meter to uppercut. Mid-screen, you would do uppercut into spike and then get no Ogi. Kevin says, Paul, how do I beat Rice Quickport? I don't know. Don't ask me. Cool. I think that's about it. Did we actually get one done in less than an hour? That's crazy. Well, I will start. Okay. Yeah. I want to have like one or two more questions. This was almost too short. Paul, noodle jump cancel. What's the deal? Were you not here when I talked about that during the... Hello, Sirens. Were you not here when I talked about that during the survey review? Basically, yes, I know it has the same parry timing. My planned fix is I want to convert jump... I mentioned this in a previous stream. I don't think I actually said it out loud today. My plan for jump cancels is to change it from a holding input, which has to happen at a specific time, to a press anywhere in this window input, which just wasn't possible at the time that we added jump cancels because of the way jumps work and gravity isn't real. It's the whole thing. But now we support that. So now jump cancels theoretically you could do at different points in the arc. Therefore, you could control some of the timing. I would want to try and implement that first, then see if that solves some of the issues. Blue Yetek says, before that, Yetek says, if everyone gets empty... and another tangent of this that I mentioned in a previous State of the Game was once we have the button to cancel into your jump cancel, I could theoretically also add a button to just cancel the jump entirely and do an empty jump. It would be an opt-in. Again, I'm always trying with TLA for the default option to be like a very obvious utility, so players don't like jump. And the whole point was the jump to auto attack. That was important for beginners. So maybe the empty jump would be like a 2. I think it works good in a lenticular design way because you really only use it against a player who's good enough to do an anti-air parry. And then we don't need to worry about the jump cancels having like unique timings, in which case, yes, Pork would get something different. I don't know what it would be. We would have to use existing animation, which does make it a little tricky. Maybe he could get a cross-up because he's supposed to be, the mix guy. I don't know. Or he could get a fast fall or something beyond an empty jump. So, one of the things I think we tried on Tough Love Arena is like just an empty armored fall, which was inspired by one of the options out of Street Fighter IV Gogen's Demon Flip, where instead of going into a kick or a slide, you go into just like an armor fall, and it will eat some anti-airs, and you get to land and punish. There are options. There are options to explore. Blue Crasher says, sadly, not really. Also, first chat. Welcome, Blue Crasher. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Sadly, not a comp player due to no scene in my area, but I love Rice and have been spreading the love by gifting it to a lot of friends. Awesome. Thank you, Blue Crasher. Thank you very much. Oh, I don't know if you saw it. I retweeted it a couple months ago. Someone did this amazing... Yeah. Rice stick. There's some custom art of them like making a little heart. Oh, that's you. Oh yeah. Well, shit. Hey, Blue Crasher, did you know about this cool person with this cool stick? I love this. This is fantastic. And the little keychain too. Friggin' super baller. If you are ever at an offline event that I'm at, which is largely like East Coast stuff and then Combo Breaker and Evo, I would love to sign it for you if you want that or anything else like that. Super cool. In general, I should offer... Do people want my signature? I don't know. I feel like when I sell posters at these things, I should offer a signature. Cool. I think that concludes the Q&A. Last chance for questions. Otherwise, I will wrap this up. Again, if you want to check out the new game, let me share this again. It is called Scramble Heart City, and we have a Discord server. You can find it in the TLA Discord server, linked at the top. And we will be doing the closed alpha for it in 1 to 2 months. If there's a store called States Feed and Seed. I get that reference, you dick. So super excited about this new game. And as I mentioned last stream, as we announced that, the new game was getting really official and stuff, I will once again express that like this new game and being able to work on the new game and this wonderful opportunity is all completely because of Tough Love Arena and because of all of you. Because I was able to go to an investor and say like, look at this cool Tough Love Arena game and all these people that played it online and all these like YouTube videos and all this other cool stuff and this active Discord and these weekly tournament numbers. There is interest. And that was essential in getting their support and their confidence to make a second game. So, truly, thank you. Thank you all. All right. Seems like a good place to end it on a nice little sincere note. We'll be back with dev streams Tuesday evenings. And... Exactly right, Abic. And stay subscribed. Again, this channel is going to be a mix of Tough Love and Scramble Heart content for the next couple months. As I sort of figure out what exactly we're going to do in terms of Scramble Heart having its own channel or stream or Tough Love winding down. I don't know. Hopefully you're interested in both. You're going to hear about both. But thank you for being along for the ride and hanging out with me as I explore this interesting transition phase. Good night.